Joseph, tell me about this space and what happens in here.
I have a small team and we make machines every day and post them online for lots of people to enjoy.
How long have you been doing this for?
I made my first machine when I was 5. It was
Wow.
like a contraption that stores all my candy. And then as an adult, I rediscovered my passion for contraptions when I was 22 and made a viral video called Cream That Egg and just sort of kept going slowly. For 10 years, I worked from my bedroom, making slightly bigger things as my bedroom size got bigger in new flats. And then finally, when I moved to London, I got like an actual dedicated studio where we make all the magic happen.
And now that you've got this big space, your projects and ideas can be even bigger.
I think Wallace and Gromit video is the biggest thing we've done in terms of sort of scale of the contraption. And because we have these huge height ceilings, it was quite exciting to finally be able to do something like that.
You also had to kind of conquer your fear of heights as well for this one.
It's scary. I don't think anyone would find that easy. Like, I worked out the height to drop from, and I was going to just like practice and slowly increment the height. And I realized pretty quickly, like, no way am I doing that. So we came up with this sort of hidden pulley system under the duvet that I'm holding onto that lowers me slowly with a counterweight so I don't fall at normal speed.
Yeah, I think jumping or just letting your body drop from that height could have been even more dangerous than,
I've hurt myself
what
a few
you ended
times.
up with.
Yeah, I hurt myself once on another machine where I was falling into some shorts. I like walked up these stairs and then dropped into some shorts. But like we had this weight hanging from the ceiling that fell on my head while I was practicing,
Oh,
like
no.
a steel bar from 10 feet up. And it was really scary.
The final video, the final product of the Wallace and Gromit one is perfect. It's so brilliant, but obviously it takes a lot of takes and a lot of mistakes to get to that point. What were some of the most challenging things?
Well, getting into the trousers was tricky, like aiming my legs right and not getting sort of tangled up in them. I think we did it about 20, 30 times, which is totally normal. Like everything we do, 20 minimum takes.
Yeah.
The jam took a bit longer. That was about 65 takes because it has to like, there's so much randomness that you're trying to kind of control that you can't make something that works every time or it would be boring. It would be sort of safe, and I like to take risks.
Yeah.
So I knew that was going to be hard, but you know, when you finally get that one magical moment, it's quite beautiful. And that's what I do it for.
And tell me about the jam. How did you make that perfect splat on the toast?
Initially, we noticed the jam would just kind of fly everywhere and get everywhere. And so we had to work out how to keep it contained as it flew through the air. And we used some clever chemistry to create like a slight skin on the jam ball. And then it bursts when it hits the toast. Also, we found initially the toast was so light that it would just kind of fly out. It would push the toast off the table.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a little cheat. I shouldn't admit this, but the toast is actually a piece of wood that's been painted to look like toast.
No way.
So it's a bit heavier, and that allows the jam to really splat when it hits and then drop perfectly on the plate. The other problem is the toast doesn't always land upright. So we just had to keep doing it till all the stars aligned, basically. And then when I bite the toast, I couldn't bite wooden toast, and it's all in one take. So there's a little sneaky switch that I do where my hand goes in behind the toaster, and there's a pre-prepared perfect piece of toast that I grab and bite that.
Very good. Well, thank you for giving us some of your secrets. And where did you get the idea from? Why did you decide to do Wallace and Gromit?
Obviously, Wallace and Gromit is a huge inspiration for me. Like, I loved it as a kid, especially that contraption with the breakfast. So I've always sort of imagined, like, how would you do that for real? Like, is it possible? And like, I think so. So finally, like, I was like, I just have to try this. Now we've got the space, let's do it. And it was a lot of experimentation and figuring out how to get there. But in the end, we got there, like everything really worked.
And you had Aardman's seal of approval as well.
Aardman, I reached out to Aardman and they loved the idea. They let me use some of their footage in the video, and they let me borrow their like wrong trousers costume. So I wear that at the end.
things obviously don't always go right. What was the most difficult thing in this Wallace and Gromit video?
There was one part that was a bit scary where the bed ripped off the hinges and fell while I was in it from the top floor, from the mezzanine. And that was a bit scary, I'm not going to lie.
But you were fine.
I was fine. I mean, I was on a padded bed, so like I couldn't really be hurt, I think. But in the moment, you're not really expecting to go plummeting one story in a bed.
No. Obviously, a lot of what you do is for the fun of it. It's about play. It's about entertaining your audience. Is anything that you've made genuinely useful?
I have a pulley in my bedroom so that from the bed I can open the window blinds.
Without getting up?
Yeah, because I find in the morning, like, I don't know, it takes me a while to properly wake up, and I need the light to really do that. So I'm too sleepy to get up and open the blinds, but I need the blinds to help me wake up. So
common problem, I think.
I think so, right? So I solved it with a pulley that just pulls them open from bed.
And what reaction do you get in the park when you take this out and about?
Lots of smiles. It depends on the person. Some people pretend to ignore it because they're like British and polite, I guess. But other people just can't help but laugh when they see it.